Is the room above your garage colder than the rest of your house in winter? You are not alone. In 4 out of 10 homes with this type of layout, that room turns into an icebox. Why does it happen? And what can you do about it? Let's break it down. To understand why that room gets so cold, we need to have a look how heat moves through the house. According to the laws of thermodynamics, heat always moves from warmer areas to the colder ones until the temperatures equalize. Garages are usually unheated spaces, and in winter, their temperature can be almost the same as outside. If there is not enough insulation between the garage ceiling and the room above, the garage will literally pull the heat right out of the floor. We run into this exact issue on one of our recent jobs. Take a look at this photo. 2 measure mistakes were made here, and they're the reason the room stayed freezing cold. Let's go over them. Mistake number 1. Insulation is too thin. At first glance, everything looked okay, but the builders used the wrong material. They installed insulation rated at R15, which is only 3.5 inches thick. That's fine for walls, but not for separating a living space for an unheated garage. To actually retain heat, this ceiling needs insulation rated at least R30. That's around 9.5 inches. Mistake number 2. Vapor barrier installed the wrong way. Many insulation products come with paper facing vapor barrier. This layer should always face the warm side of the space to block moisture from getting into insulation. But in this case, it was installed upside down, facing the garage. So what happened? Warm air from the room seeped into the insulation. The drastic temperature difference caused condensation inside. Over time, the insulation absorbed moisture, lost its effectiveness, and stopped working. Result: constant cold in the room. So how do you fix it and keep the room warm? Unfortunately, there is no quick fix. You need to address it properly, step by step. Step number 1. Open up the garage ceiling and inspect the insulation. If it's dumped, compact, or moldy, it has to be removed. It's no longer doing its job. Step number 2. Check for gaps between the floor joist and ceiling. Even a small crack can act as a thermal bridge, letting the heat escape into the garage. Seal those gaps with a spray foam. Once that's done, you are ready to insulate the right way. Use R30 insulation as a minimum. What's the level needed for proper thermal resistance. Install it with the vapor barrier facing up toward the warm room above. Don't compress or squish the insulation. Its performance depends on those tiny air pockets. If it's too tight, it won't hold heat. Support it with the wire or insulation hangers to keep it in place. No sagging, no gaps, no drafts. Follow those steps and not only will your room stay warm, you will also improve your home's overall energy efficiency. If you find this video helpful, hit the follow button, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more tips.